article today on the blog is about the Buccaneers receiving core, and I want to zoom in on Mike Evans because he turned 32 yesterday. And one of the questions that I've constantly been asking myself is and I talk about it on the blog sometimes, is what is middle-aged and what is post-prime age-wise for each position. There's no obvious, one age for each position, but there are certain trends. And Mike Evans is someone who is a yellow flag based on his age. I just want to walk through some recent years. I've talked about recently a spreadsheet that I have on ADP versus fantasy production. I'm referring to that, the numbers from 2012 to 2023. In 2023, there were essentially four guys who were 30 or older, who were in the top roughly 24 ADP. There were like six or seven altogether that were top 40, who were at least 30 years old. Just rolling through them, Stephon Diggs, who's age 30 season, he did 5 spots worse than his ADP that season. Cooper Kupp did 33 spots worse. Granted, missed a bunch of games, but that's also kind of the point. If injury risk is greater as you get older, then that comes with the territory. Keenan Allen was 11 spots better, and DeAndre Hopkins was 1 spot worse. So we have 4 guys who were worse and 1 better. Tyler Lockett was also up there in the top 50 at 31 years old, and he did worse. He did 5 spots worse. Mike Evans was 30, and he did 4 spots better. Brandon Cooks did right on the nose at age 30. Michael Thomas did 33 spots worse at age 30 season. That is almost entirely doing worse than ADP. This does not say that guys at 30 or older are no longer effective in fantasy. It simply means that if consistently a majority of them are finishing worse than their ADP, that is notable. Just going to 2022, I'm a big fan of kind of laying out the numbers. I don't want to just do statistics with this episode. I really want to go through the players. Devontae Adams in 2022 is the 4th ranked ADP, wide receiver, and he finished 1 spot better at age 30. But then you go down to the next best, Keenan Allen, who I think was 10th ADP. He was age 30, finished 31 spots worse. That is notable for obvious reasons. Adam Thielen finished right on the nose. At his ADP, he was 32 years old at the time. DeAndre Hopkins, age 30 season, finished 15 spots worse. Tyler Lockett finished 25 spots better, which I remember being shocked by that. Robert Woods, age 30, finished 16 spots worse. I'm going to go through one more season, just the previous season before that, 2021. When you look at all the guys who were at least 30 years old, Adam Thielen finished, he was 31 at that point. He finished 8 spots worse than his ADP. Antonio Brown, age 33, finished 20 spots worse than his ADP. Marvin Jones, 31, finished 17 spots better. So a 2-to-1 ratio on that. That is pretty consistent. When you go back year before year before year before year, you will find that most 30-plus-year-old wide receivers are overvalued in the preseason. The market loves these guys more than they should be loved. That's really what it comes down to. And so we can look at a guy who's 32 years old, like Mike Evans, and say, well, he's done what so few receivers have ever done before. Surely he can do it one more year. Chris Godwin's out for a bunch of weeks, maybe half the season. Jalen McMillan is out for half the season, maybe more. Surely there is a role for Mike Evans to once again dominate, get 8, 9 targets a game, and basically show that he is not yet post-prime. But that alone, by the way, is totally appropriate. If his ADP were, let's say, WR40, it isn't. He is even before Chris Godwin's injury recovery was a major question mark, when it still seemed like week 1 was a strong possibility. Mike Evans his ADP was somewhere around WR 20, 21. I thought he was overvalued at that point. Now it's 16. So he's the 41st overall ranked. He's one spot behind Garrett Wilson. And interestingly, just behind them are Devontae Adams and Terry McLaurin, two other 30-somethings. I have deep concerns about, by the way, all three of those guys at their ADPs based on their age and the fact that we tend to overvalue these players. But Mike Evans in particular seems like a high risk. The fact is, in the second half of the season, on the presumption that Godwin will be back, let's say by, at the latest mid-November, let's say, then for the last 7, 8 weeks of the season, it's going to be Evans, Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, Otten, the tight end, and Kate Otten, and a strong running back core. And Evans will be 32 and then some, trying to do the miraculous, which is get 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns, whatever it is that will get him just above that WR16 ADP. I don't think it's realistic. I think that last year he benefited from Godwin's injury. I hate to say it like that, but that is the reality. Godwin on a per game basis was beating Evans, and then Godwin got hurt. Evans became the guy. Part of the reason that Egbuka was drafted this year is Tampa Bay needed insurance policy, and what better insurance policy than a guy who could be a number one in that receiving core in the next 2 years. I mean, it's fantastic. But, Mike Evans was very TD heavy last year, but he wasn't very receiving yard heavy. He had, when Godwin was on the field, he was averaging, I think it was something like 60 yards a game or something like that on maybe 4 catches. The TDs are what kept him afloat. Granted, 11 TDs and whatever he played 14 games, incredible. That's also not necessarily sustainable, especially when you have a much younger, very talented future number one, arguably receiver in Egbuka. And especially when you have Godwin and McMillan eventually returning, specifically Godwin. So Evans is to me an example that it stands year after year after year, which is that the market sees Mike Evans not so much for his age, but for his talent. And I am suggesting that looking at talent, irrespective of age, is not the right answer. I think Evans' ADP should be down around 24 to 26 in that range. And right now that makes him a pretty strong fade. I'm BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football Winners. Follow me on the blog. Email me anytime. Sign up for the rankings. We'll see you tomorrow.